Hey guys, welcome to Yoga Lattes with SJ and to the Sciatica Relief Series. So today we are going to be doing 5 different exercises that you can do at any time of the day or night, and ideally doing these on a regular basis. What I want you to do is grab some kind of ice packs. So these can be any kind of ice, or you might simply get something that's really cold. We're going to be icing the lower back, and that is going to start to bring down inflammation throughout the body and through the whole sciatic nerve. So to begin with, just taking your time to find somewhere that is firm. So it might be on a bed if you've got a firm mattress, or it might be on a bench or even on the floor, and taking your ice packs and placing them gently underneath the low back, but making sure that your pelvis is still connected onto the surface. So we don't want to have the pelvis lifted up, and we don't want to be pushing the pelvis down. We want to be creating a nice neutral pelvis. So just being able to relax your pelvis and having those ice packs on your lower back. So you're bringing your feet to a comfortable position wherever that may be, and if it doesn't feel comfortable to lay down with your ice packs, you could also be sitting up against the back of a couch, or you could be simply seated in your office chair and placing the ice to your low back. So we're going to just take some time here to find some really deep breaths to begin. So we're going to do some diaphragmatic breathing, which is where we're going to be starting to calm the nervous system and really get into the vagus nerve, which then creates a really nice response in the body where everything will be able to start to calm, and this will also help with all of the inflammation through the whole body and for that sciatic nerve. So just taking your time here, bringing your hands maybe onto your belly, relaxing the hands, relaxing both of the feet, finding a really comfortable position here. Taking a really deep breath in and feeling as your belly expands out, feeling the ribs expanding and drawing that breath up, and then gently blowing out the mouth as though you're blowing out a candle. So starting to relax the pelvis, relaxing the lower back, feeling the back of the shoulders relaxing, the back of the head, and then doing that again. So deep breath in, feeling the belly as it expands outward, seeing if you can allow even more air in through the nose, and then starting to slowly blow that air all the way back out the mouth. You can keep doing this, and as you do this, starting to allow everything to relax. So allowing the back of the shoulders to release further, feeling length through the back of the neck, the base of the skull, and relaxing the jaw, relaxing all the muscles of the face. Maybe you're closing down the eyes or softening the gaze. Continuing to breathe really deeply here. You might let the mind start to notice that expansion of the belly as you breathe in, drawing that breath all the way in, and then letting it go all the way back out the mouth. And as you allow that breath to release, feeling everything starting to relax, sending your breath to any area of discomfort. Seeing if you can start to bring your mind there, wherever that is, and just starting to allow the breath to start to relax it out. Draw that breath in even further each time. You might extend the out breath even more each time as you relax the pelvis, glutes, hips, lower legs, the knees, the shins, the calf muscles. Might wiggle a little bit through the jaw, allowing the corners of the mouth to soften and relax. Allowing the tip of the tongue to soften to the roof of the mouth. Awesome. Doing this for as long as you like. You can do this on its own, or you might want to do this in the series. Really, really great way to relieve sciatic pain, and a really, really nice way to bring down inflammation throughout the body. So when you feel to, just taking your time, you can release the ice from the lower back. Coming into our next exercise and just bringing the feet to be around about hip distance or slightly wider apart. Just taking a moment here to find a neutral pelvis. So you know you've got that neutral pelvis if there's a little bit of space between the lower back and the floor or the surface beneath you. Now we're going to start to just adjust and let the left knee fall out to the side. So keeping the right foot where it is, and you are opening the left hip out. You might take the hand to the front side or the hands to the front side of the hips here, maybe even placing a tiny little bit of weight down onto that outer hip through that left side or into the inner thigh. An option here too is to place a pillow or some kind of support underneath the outside of the knee or outer thigh, so that you're really able to relax that outer thigh and the outside of the knee and the hip to that left side. So taking as long as you need to adjust with this. To make this even more of a stretch here, if you feel to, you can also start to bring the leg out a little bit further. Maybe you are extending the foot out towards the end of your support, but just making sure wherever you come into, you are never coming into pain. So none of these exercises should feel in any way painful. We really want to take this very gently and slowly, and eventually working into some deeper stretches, but it's so important here that we are working with the body and working with the breath. So wherever you are, starting to find those deeper breaths in through the nose, and then sending that breath all the way down to the outer thigh, the outside of the hip, the outside of the glute, the outside of the knee, all the way down, out the toes. Continuing here to breathe deeply in and fully out, relaxing the whole back body, back of the shoulders, back of the head, back of the neck. And again, staying here for as long as you feel to. Relaxing everything down. When you feel ready to come to the other side, taking your time to slowly bring the left hand to the outside of that left hip and closing the leg back in. Then we're starting to find the same thing on the other side. So gently adjusting, letting the right knee fall out to the side, and taking your time to find a position to be in where you're able to keep that beautiful neutral pelvis. Maybe you are letting the head gently rock from side to side, creating a little massage into the back of the skull. And just breathing deeply again in through the nose and sending that breath all the way down. The outer thigh, the front side of the hip, the inner thigh, the outside of the knee, and the outside of the foot as it falls heavy to that side. And again, taking as long as you like here, maybe placing that pillow or support underneath the outer thigh or the outside of the knee as you start to relax everything out. Now, if you feel ready to come into our next exercise, taking your time to slowly bring the right hand to the outside of the leg, closing that leg back in, and taking a moment here to find a neutral pelvis, making sure that there's that little space between the lower back and the mat, and letting the core softly engage, and taking some time here to bring the arches of the feet together and the inside of the knees together, letting the hips really relax heavily, slowly starting to let the knees fall over to the left side. You might bring your hands to the front side of the hips, and as you start to let those knees fall over to that left side, noticing as the right hip starts to slightly lift, and then you are using your core muscles to gently draw the knees back again through to the center line. So continuing here with this on the left side, you are really only letting those knees fall over to the side until you feel that slight lift of that right hip up, and then you are gently bringing the belly button back towards the spine as you start to use your core muscles to draw the knees back in to the center. So making sure that as you continue here, you aren't bringing any tension into the lower back, so you're keeping that neutral pelvis. We're not tucking the tailbone under, and we aren't pressing the pelvis down into the mat. We are using the core to draw the knees back in. So really bringing your mind to that belly button coming towards the spine, and you are coming over to the left and then drawing back in through center. So you might find yourself coming over a little bit more each time, and eventually the more that you practice this, the more comfortable this will become, and the stronger your core will start to be as well. So really moving at your own pace, only coming as far over as what you feel that slight little lift of the right hip, and then using your core to draw all the way back through center. And then taking a moment when you're ready to find that neutral pelvis again, and placing the hands on the front side of the hips, we're going to start to come to the other side. So we're doing the same thing on the other side. This time you are just starting to let the knees fall over to the right side, finding that very slight little lift of the left hip, and then using your core to gently draw the knees to come back through center. As you continue here, really bringing your mind to those muscles of the core, that space around the belly button, letting the hands relax onto the front side of the hips, letting the elbows relax into the earth, not bringing any tension into the back of the shoulders or the back of the neck, isolating this movement so that the core is working here, doing all of the work, and also letting the jaw relax, using your breath as well, making sure you're not holding your breath, so you are connecting your breath to the movement. Maybe you're inhaling, and then as you exhale, starting to lower the knees over to the side, and then as you inhale again, drawing the knees back through center. Continuing here for as long as you like before coming to our next exercise, letting the knees come back through center and taking a moment here to adjust the feet, finding a neutral pelvis and making sure you've got the little bit of space between the lower back and your mat here, bringing the feet to be about hip distance apart or slightly wider, and letting the fingertips start to reach towards the end of your support, letting the back of the shoulders relax here into the earth, letting the back of the head relax to wherever it wants to be. And we're starting to find a very, very small lift of the pelvis. So we're going to do a bridge here, but with this, we are not going to be tucking the tailbone under or squeezing the glutes. We're going to be keeping that tailbone lengthened out towards the end of your support. You can bring your hands onto the front side of the hips or bringing the hands onto the belly. And just finding that as you start to lift slightly up, so it's a very, very small lift, you are maintaining that neutral pelvis as you lift, and then starting to slowly lower back down with control. So this is really different to a regular bridge. We are really imagining that the hips are being drawn up by a string. So really only coming up a very small amount, lifting from the hips and keeping that lower back and the tailbone really, really still and neutral. And you are lifting up, not squeezing the glutes. You are simply pressing into the feet to slightly lift and then lower back down. Keeping this going. And really working again at your own pace, noticing that your weight is very even through both of the feet, and you're not letting the knees track too far inward or outward, so the knees are very much directly pointing forward, and keeping your weight even through that center line, lifting up and lowering down. So really, really taking your time with this, keeping your mind into that neutral pelvis, keeping your mind noticing that everything is very still here. It's this tiny lift. You're not squeezing those glutes. You are simply allowing the hips to lift slightly, and then keeping that same line of the pelvis as you start to slowly lower down. So it should almost feel as though you're rolling the spine from the middle back all the way down to the lower back, as the pelvis is the last to come down. Finding one more here, and then relaxing the glutes down, relaxing the pelvis. Taking a moment here to let the arms come out a little bit wider. You might flip the palms towards the ceiling, maybe wiggling through the fingers a little bit, letting the back of the shoulders relax into the earth, and finding length through the back of the neck. Taking a moment here to feel the soles of the feet connected into your support, letting the belly button soften towards the back body, and resting here for a moment, taking a deep breath in through the nose, expanding the belly, and then exhaling all the way back out. Finding that neutral pelvis again. We're going to begin to squeeze the glutes. So starting to squeeze the glutes, isolating through those glutes, and then as you exhale out, starting to relax the glutes again. So with a breath in, you are squeezing the glutes as hard as you can, but without bringing any tension anywhere else in the body, and maybe holding with that squeeze. You're not lifting the pelvis, you are simply squeezing the glutes, squeezing the booty, and then holding for as long as you feel to before starting to exhale out and relax the pelvis, relaxing the glutes, continuing with this. You can do this in a seated position as well if you prefer, or even in a standing. You are starting to find strength into those glutes, so you're isolating through the glutes by squeezing the glutes, holding, and you might feel this in your pelvic floor as well, and then starting to relax and let it go. Bringing awareness to notice if anywhere else starts to grip or hold as you do this, and seeing if you can relax the rest of the body, really isolating into those glutes, and doing this for as long as you feel to before we come to our final exercise. Very gently making your way to all fours. So we are allowing the knees to be in line with the hips, and the knees also to be tracking in line with the top of the feet, and the hands are in line with the shoulders. Finding a soft core engagement here, finding length through the whole back, all the way out the top of the head. And then you're starting to slowly keep a neutral pelvis, so not tucking the tailbone under, not lifting the tailbone up, keeping that really flat lower back. And you are simply hinging from the hips, so coming back a little bit, and then using your core, belly button to spine, to draw you back through to your original position. So we are rocking back and coming forward, really moving slowly with this so that you are able to maintain that neutral pelvis. We don't want to come into any kind of pain here, so moving at your own pace, really connecting your breath with this. So finding an inhale in, and then as you exhale out, starting to draw back through to your center line. And maybe you might eventually start to find that the tailbone is coming back even further towards the back of the heels, keeping the shoulders away from the ears, keeping your weight very even through that center. And beautiful work, keeping this going for as long as you feel to, and really finding that beautiful stretch through the lower back, through the whole back body, also strengthening through the core here. Really bringing your mind to make sure that you aren't tucking the tailbone at any point. You are keeping that very flat lower back. and breathing in and fully out. So good, you guys. Might finish here, or if you have a little bit more time, you might take some time here to relax using your ice packs and taking those to the lower back in some way, whether that be in seated or whether it be on your back again, and allowing yourself to find a comfortable position with that where you're able to keep the pelvis in that neutral position, so you aren't lifting the pelvis up and you aren't pressing the pelvis too far down into the support. You are able to completely relax, letting your legs be wherever they want to be. Maybe you're letting the knees fall inward, making a little tent with those legs, or maybe you are keeping the knees separated and just allowing the arms to relax down, maybe taking some deeper breaths here in through the nose as you arrive here, and then as you exhale out, letting the whole body relax completely down. The back of the head, the back of the neck, the back of the shoulders, the upper back, mid-back, lower back, pelvis. All of the glutes relaxing, letting everything go. The more that you practice this, the more you will feel so much development and so much relief from any kind of sciatic nerve pain. And it also is a great way to build muscle around all of those sciatic nerves. Hope you have a beautiful day, you guys. Take care. Can't wait to see you again soon.